People in this area are also mourning the last astronaut to walk on the moon. Gene Cernan died yesterday at the age of 82.
He split his time between his home in Houston and his ranch in Kerrville. News 4 San Antonio's Emily Baucum just got back from Kerrville, where she is talking to a lot of people who are remembering this American hero, right?
And you would never guess just how many legends of the Apollo era now live in Kerrville. It was a privilege to sit around a table this afternoon and hear stories about their friend, someone who had literally been to the moon and back, but called Kerrville his personal Tranquility Base.
Oh, this is a neat way to travel. Isn't it great?
Gene Cernan never stopped traveling.
They knew 8 Whiskey Bravo. They knew who that was.
Bruce McKenzie runs the Kerrville Airport, where the astronaut flew in and out just about every weekend.
We would always have fun out here. When he would leave, we would say, "You know who that was?" And they would go, "No." I said, "Yeah, that's exactly who that was."
He gathered a who's who of America's space program, the minds that dared to dream man could land on the moon.
We all knew what the goal was, and we had the nation behind us.
Ron Bliley tested spacecraft for NASA.
The time that I knew Gene Cernan was when I was with a device called the Lunar Landing Training Vehicle. And it was a device that we used to train astronauts to land the lunar module on the moon.
I was strolling on the moon one day.
While Cernan strolled the moon, sitting in the flight director's chair was Jerry Griffin.
Well, I just remember he would be talking spacecraft stuff, and then all of a sudden, incredible. This is incredible.
Enthusiasm that inspired future astronauts like Jack Lausma.
When he was on the moon, he was very articulate, and one of the things that he said that a lot of people remember was that people asked him how he felt when he was on the moon. He said, "Well, I felt like I was sitting on God's front porch."
And when Cernan spoke man's final words from the moon,
Godspeed the crew of Apollo 17.
NASA's former director of engineering, Tom Moser, says a new mission was born.
The biggest advocate for continuing human spaceflight that I know.
And that may be the astronaut's lasting legacy, says aviation pro Joe Kennedy.
I can't tell you how many times the man would take time out of his day to stop and talk to young people in particular.
Urging kids to dream and explore, hoping history would someday remember Gene Cernan as one of the men who walked on the moon, not the last. And if the men in that room have their say, he won't be. One of them has met with Donald Trump's transition team, urging the president-elect to make space travel a priority. And how lucky are we that all those great minds live in Kerrville?
And how is that they all happen to live there?
Well, they all worked in Houston at the Johnson Space Center, so they got to know this area. Some of them sent their kids to summer camps in the Hill Country. Decided what a nice place to retire. It's so down to earth. That's
well,
what
we
they
couldn't
kept
agree
telling
more.
Me.
And
pun not intended.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what an honor to have them, and him as well. Emily, thanks.